A very good morning to all and welcome to this fourth lecture of microengineering course. So as per the earlier discussion, today in this particular lecture we are going to discuss about formation of scattering parameter and importance of scattering parameters in the analysis of microwave circuit. So first of all, we already know that at low frequency phenomena there are different types of parameters available for analysis purpose of the circuit. Now these parameters in our third year course you have already gone through. The circuit analysis parameter at low frequency which we already studied are popularly known as an impedance parameter or Z parameter, admittance parameter and hybrid parameter. So many of us we already know that the hybrid parameter or the H parameters are the most commonly used parameter for analyzing transistor based circuit in electronics. But remember that the analysis of these circuit are carried out with the help of circuit parameters, and these parameters are called as a hybrid parameters. Okay, so if you have gone through the circuit analysis of transistor based circuit in electronic devices and circuit, there at that time we extensively used hybrid parameters or H parameters. Now why these scattering parameters are important to us and why not we are going to make use of other available parameters like impedance, admittance and hybrid parameters. So that we are going to study in this particular lecture. So here let us start with explanation of scattering parameters. Scattering parameters are also known in short way as a S parameters. Now first of all, you should understand the term parameter. The parameters are the modeling entities of the circuit, or the parameters are the defining entities in order to model a particular circuit. Maybe that circuit is being operated at a low frequency or high frequency. So parameters are going to describe with which the circuit or the network is going to be defined or designed. Okay, so in order to understand the operation of scattering parameter, we will take the help of two-port network theory. Now again remember that two-port network theory is already covered to you in your earlier semesters. Now the same two-port network here we are utilizing in order to understand the operation of scattering parameter. Now here in this particular diagram I will denote this two-port network over here. So this is a typical two-port network, how it look like. Now we have here two ports. So this is a port number 1, okay, and port number 2. Okay, so by the nomenclature what we consider is port number 1 we consider as a input and port number 2 we consider it as a output, right? So next is we will denote the parameters of this particular two-port network by means of representation of incident and reflected powers, or those are in the form of a waves. Okay, so as I discussed impedance parameters over here, I'll change the color. This impedance parameter we also call the impedance parameter as a Z parameter. Okay, and next is the admittance parameter and the hybrid parameter or H parameter. Now these parameters are used to analyze a given circuit at low frequency. Okay, so these parameters as I highlighted over here, these are applicable when we are going to make use of circuit at a lower frequency. Okay, so when we design a circuit and when we want to analyze the circuit at a low frequency, at that time we are going to make use of Z, Y and H parameter. Okay, so what if we want to analyze a network at a higher operating frequency? At a higher operating frequency, the impedance parameters, admittance parameters and the hybrid parameters are not suitable. Now let us see why these already existing parameters are not suitable in order to characterize the device at a high frequency, that is the microwave circuits. Okay, so if we take into account the example of impedance parameter, so I will take just the example of impedance parameter, the Z parameters, right? So how it is represented as per the circuit theory, the impedance parameters are given by this particular equation. There are two ports, so for each port equations are represented by means of expressing the voltages in terms of currents. So the voltage at port number 1, okay, so I will denote over here, let us say the voltage at port number 1 is a V1, and let us say the current at port number 1 is say I1. Okay, and similarly the voltage that will appear at port number 2 at the output port, say V2, and let us say the current is I2. Okay, so if we know these voltages and currents, okay, please remember voltage and current are the circuit parameters, they are not the field parameter, right? So voltages on each port are expressed by means of currents by taking into account the impedance, so that these two equations we are going to get, and V1 is equal to Z11 V1 I1 plus Z12 I2. Similarly the voltage at second port is represented as V2 is equal to Z21 I1 plus Z22 I2. So these equations are very commonly known to you people. Okay, and suppose if I want to evaluate the Z parameter, for example if I want to evaluate Z11, how it is given? In order to evaluate Z11 from this particular equation, okay, so how we evaluate, how we calculate Z11 from this equation, I need to set the value of I2 is equal to 0. Okay, so when I set I2 is equal to 0 in this equation, the Z11 is simply given as a ratio of voltage at port number 1 divided by current at port number 1, provided that, this is a very important thing, I need to set I2 is equal to 0 in order to achieve the value of Z11, right? Similarly, by setting the value of I2 is equal to 0 in the second equation, similarly I will get Z21 is equal to V2 by I1. Okay, so this equation I will get again by setting I2 is equal to 0 in the second equation. Okay, so what we observe over here is always the Z parameters are indicating the ratio of voltage to the current. Okay, and the Z parameters are obtained by setting the current at opposite port to the 0. Okay, so please remember again, in order to calculate Z12 and Z22, I need to set I1 is equal to 0 in these both two equations, so that I will get the value of Z12 is equal to V1 by I2, and similarly Z22 it is given as V2 divided by I2. So all these equations are simply representing the ratio of voltage divided by current, and that's why these parameters are known as impedance parameter. Now one thing you should take into account, that in order to achieve the Z parameter, what actually we need to do is we are going to make the current is equal to 0. Okay, so sometimes the current at port number 1 we want to make it 0, that is I1 is equal to 0, and similarly in order to evaluate the other Z parameter, I am going to make the current at the other port is equal to 0. So when I make the current is equal to 0, that means what I am doing, I am open circuiting the port. So whenever the current is 0, that indicates open circuit condition. So please remember over here that when current is equal to 0, this indicates condition of open circuit. Okay, so what we are supposed to process over here is, in order to calculate the Z parameter, what we need to do is we need to open circuit the given two port network or any network or any particular circuit. So here what we are doing is we are open circuiting. Okay, so unless and until we open circuit the given circuit or the network, the current cannot become 0. Okay, so for calculating the impedances selectively, we need to make the current is equal to 0. And how to make the current is equal to 0? Simply by keeping the port open circuit. When you open circuit a given port, the current will not flow and the current will become 0. So remember this particular situation. Now the same thing will happen, but here in the case of admittance parameter or y parameter. Now I will not specify the equation of admittance parameter. You already know that admittance parameters are denoted by y terms. Okay, so in order to calculate admittance parameter, similarly we need to keep the short circuit at the given ports. Okay, so oppositely, in order to calculate the admittance parameter, we need to provide short circuit at the ports so that the voltage is going to become zero. So what is the similarity of using this low frequency circuit analysis parameter, which is applicable to both impedance as well as admittance parameter, is that whenever we want to calculate these impedance or admittance parameter and even the hybrid parameters, that is H parameter, selectively we need to put open circuit and short circuit condition on the given network. Okay, and this is the particular issue when we deal with frequency operation. It is absolutely okay in order to provide short circuit and open circuit condition whenever your signal frequency is very low. But please remember, when we operate at a very high frequency, keeping the short circuit and open circuit at the given port is very difficult phenomenon. Okay, so the issue over here is that I discussed over here, that I will underline here. The issue over here is keeping the open circuit or short circuit condition is very difficult at a high frequency. So why this happens? Why we cannot easily open circuit or short circuit the given circuit at a high frequency? Now at a high frequency, please remember the wavelength of the operation of the signal is very low. Okay, so as the wavelength of the operation is very low, and I already discussed that at a high frequency transit time effect will become very significant. Okay, so in order to produce open circuit and short circuit, before placing the open and short circuit, please remember the signal is going to vary by many folds. Okay, so as the signal is being operated at a very small wavelength, the variation in the signal will take place at a large scale when we are going to place open circuit and short circuit. And we already discussed that at a high frequency operation there is a significant effect of transit time effect. So when we operate the given circuit at a high frequency, we cannot easily perform open circuit and short circuit operation. Now it really indicates that if we are not going to perform open circuit and short circuit, we are unable to do this process, then at that time we cannot make use of impedance parameter, admittance parameter and hybrid parameters. Okay, so we cannot evaluate those parameters because in order to evaluate these parameters, that is Z parameter, admittance parameter and impedance parameter, we need to selectively perform open circuit and short circuit condition, which is not at all possible when we are operating at a very high frequency the signal. Okay, because we know that the transit time effect will become significant, and on or before placing the open circuit or short circuit there could be many-fold variation in the signal. Okay, and ultimately the signal will not reach at the output. So it is not advised to perform open circuit and short circuit condition whenever the signal is operated at very high frequency. So here the question arises, then in order to analyze a given network at a very high frequency, which parameters we should use? Okay, so this is the time where the scattering parameters will come into the picture. Okay, so that is the importance over here. Now we cannot make use of either impedance, admittance or hybrid parameters when the circuit is being operated at a high frequency. So at that time the only option or the solution is provided by, if we make use of a scattering parameter instead of these parameters, then we can perform the analysis of the circuit, because scattering parameters do not require to put open circuit and short circuit condition on the ports. Okay, so let us see how the scattering parameters of a given network which is being operated at a microwave frequency are being formulated. So here the important conclusion over here is the scattering parameters, now here I am underlining, they do not require short circuit or open circuit condition to be imposed on a particular port. Okay, as they don't require short circuit and open circuit condition to be performed in order to calculate them, then there is a avoidance of the problem of transit time effect, and scattering parameters are best suitable in order to parameterize and in order to analyze a given circuit which is operating at a very high frequency. So please remember, this is the only reason why scattering parameters are used and they are preferred to analyze the given circuit at a high frequency, or that is at a microwave frequency. So let us go ahead and see the details. What is the scattering phenomena? Okay, so as I already discussed, the scattering parameters, the name itself indicates the scattering is similar to a process of a reflection. Okay, so we already discussed how these low frequency parameters are described. They are described in terms of voltages and currents. Okay, so here we are not going to express the scattering parameter into voltages and current, but rather the scattering parameter is given as a ratio of reflected wave to the incident wave. So over here the scattering parameter in general is given as the ratio of scattered wave divided by input wave or the incident wave. So more commonly it is known as ratio of reflected wave to the incident wave. Okay, so the same thing we take over here. Now again we see this particular two port network. Again it has a two ports. Port number 1 is considered as an input, port number 2 is considered as output. Okay, now here A1 is the incident wave at port number 1. So this A1 is the incident wave at port number 1, and similarly B1 is the reflected wave at port number 1, and the same analogy we will apply to the port number 2. A2 is the incident wave at port number 2, and similarly the reflection will take place similar to the reflection that took place at port number 1, and we will get some reflected wave at port number 2 also, and that is represented as a B2. So here we have in total 4 waves. 2 waves are represented as incident waves. Okay, so these incident waves I will highlight, A1 and A2. These are the 2 incident waves. And similarly B1 and B2 are the 2 reflected waves from port number 1. So this B1 is the reflected wave from port number 1 back towards the port number 1 itself. And similarly B2 is the reflected wave from port number 2. Okay, so here in total we have 4 different waves, and these 4 different waves are going to model a 2-port network. Okay, so here we have a couple of waves at the incident, and we have a couple of waves, those are reflected. So how we can formulate the scattering parameter? So here A is a indication of incident wave. So we normally call incident wave is normally denoted as a, and small b letter is represented to indicate the scattered waves. So in general the scattering waves are denoted by scattering S is equal to B divided by A. So where B is a reflected wave, it could be B1 or it could be B2. Okay, and similarly divided by A, where A could stand for either A1 or A2. So the meaning of each of these waves are indicated over here. So what is A1? A1 is the input wave or the incident wave at port number 1. A2 is the input wave or the incident wave at port number 2. What is B1? B1 is the reflected wave, or it is also known as a scattered wave. You can call it as a scattered wave or reflected wave, one at the same. Okay, so B1 is a scattered wave at port number 1, and similarly B2 is the scattered wave at port number 2. Okay, so with this basic definition of 2 sets, so these are the 2 sets, these are the 2 sets of incident waves, they are representing incident waves, right? And similarly these are the 2 sets which indicate reflected wave or scattered wave. Okay, so we have a couple of incident waves and we have a couple of reflected waves. So here the scattered waves are indicated as a function of an incident wave. So how we representing mathematically? Mathematically, the equation of a scattering parameter is denoted by in terms of this particular equation, where b is represented as a function of a. So this particular mathematics, so this is you might be knowing that how to represent the two variables in terms of a certain function. Okay, so if you want to represent the reflected wave, please remember b is a reflected wave. So this is a reflected wave, right? So the reflected wave is represented in terms of incident wave. So this is a is a incident wave. Okay, so in order to represent the reflected wave in terms of a incident wave, we are going to take help of a certain function. So mathematically it is represented as b is equal to f times a, where f is a certain function. Now that function is nothing but scattering matrix. Okay, so how we define the scattering parameters are defined such that the reflected waves are indicated in terms of incident wave. So we have two reflected waves, that is b1 and b2, and we have two incident waves, a1 and a2, and we have two ports, so that's why we have two equations for scattering parameters. Okay, so they are representation of two equations for two port network. Okay, so you can extend this particular concept to any port configuration. Actually this is a two port configuration. Okay, so if you have in total 3 ports, you will be dealing with 3 equations. Okay, so there will be 3 different incident waves, okay, 3 different reflected waves and their set. Okay, so for representation of a scattering matrix, we will take only the 2 port as an example. No doubt the same definition you can extend to any particular port having n ports. So in that particular case, you will be dealing with n number of equations. So as we have the 2 port network, please remember we deal with 2 equations, which is given by equation number 1 and equation number 2. Okay, so how it is represented? First of all, equation number 1, b1 is a reflected wave, is represented by s11a1 plus s12a2. Similarly, the b2, which is a reflected wave at port number 2, it is given by b2 is equal to s21a1 plus s22a2. Or in short, in a matrix representation form, they are indicated by equation number 3. So from the matrix theory, you can represent this equation by equation number 3, where b is a reflected wave and a is an incident wave, and these are related with each other with what we call it as a scattering matrix. So S is a scattering matrix. So how the scattering matrix is written? So S stands for a scattering matrix. So scattering matrix for a 2 port has in total 4 parameters. So the 4 parameters are S11, S12, S21 and S22. Okay, so instead of 2 port, if we have a 3 port, we have a matrix of a 3 by 3, right, and so on. Now let us generalize this case of 2 port network and extend our information of a scattering matrix formulation for a network having n ports. So the diagram shown over here below is representing some XYZ port. So here we have a certain XYZ port, and please remember this port has multiple ports. This network has multiple ports. So right now here we have in total 4 ports. So this is a port number 1, this is a port number 2, this is a port number 3, and this is a port number 4. Okay, so at each one of these ports we have the incident wave. The incident wave is indicated with a blue color over here. Okay, so the incident wave is A1 at port 1. Similarly, incident wave at port 2 is A2. Similarly, at port 3 it is A3. And similarly, the incident wave at port 4 is A4. And similarly, as the incident wave is there, there is going to be some finite amount of a reflection or the scattering, and the scattering at each port will take place, and the scattering here for this multi-port network is denoted by multiple reflected waves at their respective port configurations. So these reflected waves at port number 1 is indicated with a B1. Now please note down the arrow direction of the reflected wave. You need to always show opposite direction for the incident wave and reflected waves. Similarly, B2 is the reflected wave at port number 2, this one. B3 is the reflected wave at port number 3, and similarly B4 is the reflected wave at port number 4. So if we are asked to formulate the scattering matrix, or if we want to write down the scattering parameters for this 4-port network, what we will be dealing with is the formation of 4 different equations in terms of reflected waves. Okay, so the way in which we formulated the equation for the 2-port network. For 2-port network, we have 2 different equations. Similarly, here we have a multi-port network. The example is a 4-port network over here. So we will be having in total 4 different equations which are representing reflected waves in terms of incident waves. Okay, and here the same notation we are going to make use of, that is the reflected waves are indicated as function of incident waves. Okay, so let us go into the details. So the representation, the terminology of scattering parameters. So as we discussed already, in general the scattering parameter is indicated as a ratio of B divided by A. Now please remember here again, what is the B? B is the reflected wave. Please remember, it is a reflected wave. I will write here. Okay, divided by A is the incident wave. So this should be known to you. So generally the scattering parameter for multi-port network, it is denoted with some additional notation. So here, if you observe this particular scattering parameter, at the suffix we have the labels I and J. Okay, so this is a special notation for the scattering parameter. So what Sij stands for? The Sij stands for the notation at the suffix. Okay, so I and J here, please remember, where I and J represent ports of a network, right? Such that I and J are not equal. So this is a very important. Okay, so what is I and J? I and J, these are representing the port numbers, the total number of ports for the given circuit, such that I is not equal to J. That means these 2 ports are different, they are not denoting the same ports. So how to represent the scattering matrix in terms, scattering parameter rather, in terms of this suffix notation? So Sij, we can write it as a, first in the numerator we have the scattered wave at I port divided by incident wave at the J port. So I and J, they indicate 2 separate ports. B indicate the reflected wave, A indicate the incident wave. So Sij over here, so it is denoted by Bi divided by Aj. Okay, so what is the meaning of this? The scattering parameter Sij is equal to, it is given by taking the ratio of the reflected wave at port I divided by the incident wave at port number J, where I and J are different. Okay, so if we want to represent, let us say I, so here you can come to this part. So here, what is the convention? I is the destination port and J is the input port. So always we need to take the sign convention from the second suffix to the first suffix. So when we write Ij, that means from J to I, please remember. So here it is written Sij, it stands for the suffix notation we need to take such that from J to I, from J to I. Okay, so what is J standing for? J stands for a port number where the wave is incident. Okay, and that is denoted with the A, and the port is J, right? Similarly, what is I over here? The I indicates the port at which the reflection took place. And how it is represented? It is represented as a Bi. Okay, and if I take Sij, So this indicates Bi divided by Aj. It simply indicates that the incident wave is incident at port J and the wave is reflected at some other port, that is I. Okay, so always follow the convention from second suffix J to I. Okay, so let us go ahead and let us draw the two port network representation in terms of a scattering parameter, because the next thing is very important and we are going to see the important properties or characteristics of a scattering matrix exhibited by any particular microwave network. So let us consider over here, I will denote it with labels. So here, now consider the below part. We are going to start with a new discussion now from this diagram onwards. Again, what I did over here in this particular diagram is I redrawn the diagram, same diagram, and it is representing the same two port network, right? And here again A1, B1 I labeled incident wave and reflected wave. Similarly at port number 2 I labeled as A2 and B2 as an incident wave and a reflected wave, and I consider this port as a two port network. Okay, and let us say port number 1 is also denoted by I and port number 2 is, say, it is also denoted by J. So taking this diagram into account, so what we are going to study further is important characteristics of scattering parameters. So this is a very important part because this information is needed when we are going to study the waveguides and whenever we are going to analyze the passive waveguide based junction devices. Okay, so please listen very carefully this characteristics of scattering matrix. Okay, so here the discussion agenda is to study the different characteristics of a two port network in terms of scattering parameters. Okay, so the different characteristic we are going to see now. We will consider this figure in order to understand the various characteristics of scattering parameter. First, let us discuss the matching condition or matched condition. So the matching condition I have written over here. So what is a matching condition? Matching condition of a network, it is related with how the particular given port of the network is matched. So whenever a port is matched, whenever a circuit is matched, there is not going to be any reflection. Okay, so how many ports we have in this two port network? We have a total two ports, port number 1 and port number 2. Okay, so how we represent that this two port network is matched for its given two port, that can be conveniently represented by a scattering matrix. So how that can be done? If a given two port network is perfectly matched, please remember, whenever a port or whenever a circuit is perfectly matched, at that time there doesn't exist any reflected wave, only there exists an incident wave, and that incident wave will continue traveling further and there will not be any reflected wave. So how to represent a circuit which is matched for its all ports, and how to represent that in terms of a scattering parameters? So that is the question over here. Now matched condition for the given network is represented by equation which is given by Sii is equal to 0 and similarly Sjj is equal to 0. Okay, so if this is the particular condition, please again remember what is the suffixes I indicates. These indicates the port number, and already we have considered that port number 1 we considered as a I port, port number 2 we considered as a J port. Okay, so Sii and Sjj is equal to 0. Now I stands for 1 and J stands for 2, so what we get? The equation S11. If you replace I with 1, we get S11. And how S11 is represented? In terms of reflected wave to the incident wave, reflected wave B to the suffix 1 divided by incident wave A to the suffix 1. Okay, and as B1 is equal to 0, so what is B1? You can look out over here. B1 is the reflected wave at port number 1. Okay, if the port 1 is perfectly matched, the B1 is going to be 0. So in the numerator the B1 becomes 0. So as B1 becomes 0, S11 will become 0. Okay, and that's why Sii will become 0. And the same is true for the second port. If the second port is perfectly matched, that means we can write Sjj is equal to 0. Okay, so j, when we replace with a number 2, we will get S22 is equal to 0. And again represent that in terms of a ratio. It is given by B2 by A1. Again, if we say that port number 2 is perfectly matched, then B2 is going to be 0. So in the numerator we will keep a 0, that means S22 will become 0. So please remember that here we will get one of the important property or the characteristic of a matched circuit. Whenever a given microwave circuit is said to be matched, okay, then the port which are representing that particular microwave circuit, they will exhibit scattering parameter at that particular port is equal to 0. Okay, so SII, that indicates the reflection coefficient. Okay, and the scattering parameters at that particular port, if there doesn't exist any reflected wave, it is going to become H0. So what is the significance of this property? Suppose you have been given a particular network and it is asked to you find out whether the network is matched for its all ports. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to measure the scattering parameters at these two ports, S11 and S22. And if you find S11 and S22 is equal to 0, that means these two ports of the given network are perfectly matched. If it is not the case, then you can conclude that these ports are not perfectly matched. Okay, so for example, if S11 is not equal to 0 and similarly S22 is not equal to 0, if you measure, okay, so this particular condition indicates ports are not matched. So ports are not matched means there is a certain reflection that is taking place. Okay, so there is a certain reflection that will always take place when the ports are not matched, right? So this is the important property, first important property of a network that can be understood with the help of a evaluation of scattering matrix, and we saw matched condition. Now let us move ahead and see what do you mean by isolation condition. Okay, so first of all, I would like to explain you what do you mean by isolation. The physical meaning of the isolation means keeping separate. Okay, so the dictionary meaning, so keeping isolation means to isolate something from some other material. Okay, so isolation means how many ports are there in our two port. We have in total two ports. How these two ports are isolated from each other. Now please always remember that there should be in ideal circuit at a microwave frequency, the two ports should be isolated from each other as possible as. Okay, so isolation has to be there between the two ports. Okay, so how to check that the isolation is there between the multiple ports? So that can be calculated and evaluated by means of formulating the scattering parameters. So the second property of a scattering parameters is to check the isolation between the ports. Okay, so if you have a microwave network and it has multiple ports, you can check whether these ports are isolated from each other by checking a condition given by scattering parameter. So that we are going to discuss. So isolation condition is denoted by this particular matrix equation notation. Scattering parameter Sij, okay, I will write Sij is equal to Sji is equal to 0. Okay, so where I again stands for 1 and j again stands for 2. Okay, so Sij is equal to Sji is equal to 0. So if I replace I with 1 and j with 2, what I will get, the equation is S12 is equal to S21 is equal to 0. Okay, so S12 stands from 2 to 1. So please remember, you need to start from second suffix and go to first suffix, 2 to 1. So how it is given, B1 by A2. And similarly S21, how it is represented, it is represented from 1 to 2. Okay, so from 1 to 2, so B2 by A1. So both are going to become 0. Okay, so S12 and S21 of that given network, when you measure the scattering matrix, scattering parameters for the given network, you need to measure S12 and S21 for that two port network. And if you find that these two parameters are 0, then it will indicate that these two ports are isolated from each other. So what does isolation physically means? What is the interpretation? So the physical interpretation of the isolation of the port is that these two ports are totally separate. How they are different from each other, that is the measure of isolation. Okay, so we want these two ports to be totally different. So that means there has to be an isolation condition. So S12 is equal to S21 is equal to 0. That indicates that these two ports are isolated from each other. That means there is no relation between these two particular ports. Okay, so that is the meaning. So coming across, the next property is the property of a reciprocity. Okay, so third important property of a scattering parameter, that property of a reciprocity. Okay, so what is this property of reciprocity? Now in simple word I will explain you what is the reciprocity. Consider this particular circuit. You can recall what this particular circuit represent. This is a typical circuit representation of a simple attenuator network which consists of a resistive element. Okay, and this circuit is symmetrical. It is in a T-shaped configuration, and this circuit is normally called as a attenuator circuit in RF analysis. Okay, so this circuit is a symmetrical. Okay, and this circuit will only contain passive element. Now here we have the resistors. So here we have the three resistors, R1, R2 and R3, and we note that this particular circuit is symmetrical. Okay, which contains the passive, linear and bilateral impedances. Okay, so there is a three different terms. You already know the meaning of a passive element. Okay, so what is a linear element? So if the element, now what element is contained in this particular circuit is the resistors. So resistors are linear devices. That means they exhibit linear relationship between the voltage and current through them. Okay, and bilateral stands for symmetry. Okay, so this particular circuit is symmetrical. This particular circuit will contain passive element, and the passive elements are also linear in operation. Then at this time, if the circuit fulfills all these conditions, that means the circuit should contain first of all a passive element. The element should be linear in operation, second property. And third important property is the circuit you can easily divide into two parts, or you can call it as a symmetrical network, or in other words bilateral. Okay, simple impedances. Then we can explain the property of reciprocity of the given network in terms of these scattering parameters. Okay, so if our network, so suppose this two port network whatever we have drawn, this only contains this type of a network. Okay, so if our two port network contains only passive element which are linear in operation, and if the circuit is exactly divided into two parts, or it is a bilateral symmetry, then the reciprocity property is denoted by a scattering matrix by this particular equation. Sij is equal to Sji. So in terms of 1 and 2 representation of a port, if the network possesses reciprocity, then I can write, if I replace I with 1 and j with 2, I will write S12 is equal to S21. Okay, provided port number 1 is different from port number 2. That is the meaning. Okay, so what does this mean? What is the physical interpretation of reciprocity? That means S12 is equal to S21. So that means the input port can be later configured as an output port. Okay, so the input port you can change it as a output port, and similarly the output port over here you can change it as a input port. Okay, so in other words, or in other simple sentence, what we can define the property of reciprocity of the network: if the port functions are interchangeable, there are two ports, one port is acting as an input, other port is acting as output. If these two ports can interchange their functions, means the input port can act as an output port and the output port can act as an input port. If this is the case, then the given circuit or the network is said to possess a property of reciprocity. Okay, and this is how it is represented in terms of a scattering parameters. S12 is equal to S21, where port number 1 and port number 2 are different. Okay, so what is the best example of reciprocal network or reciprocal device which we are making use in communication, wireless communication? The best example, the reciprocal network, are the antennas. How? Because the same antenna you can use to transmit, and the same antenna you can use at the receiver also. Okay, so the single antenna can be functioned as an input as well as output. So the best example of reciprocal device in RF communication are the antennas. Okay, so let us go ahead and see what is the symmetry property of a scattering parameter. So the next important property, symmetry property. So what do we mean by symmetry? Okay, so in order to explain the symmetry property of a scattering parameter, we are going to take three ports into account. Okay, so let us say there are three ports. These ports are indicated as a port number I, port number J, and port number R. So what these are? These are the port numbers, right? So in order to illustrate the property of symmetry, we need to take into account three ports. Okay, so the symmetry property is explained whether the given two ports are symmetrical or they are anti-symmetrical with respect to a third port. Okay, so the first two port we will take I and J, and the third port we will take as a port number R. Okay, so the two ports, that is port number I and port number J, they are said to be symmetrical with a third port. The third port is a R port, provided if they follow SII is equal to SJJ. Okay, and these two ports, that is port number I and port number J, they are said to be symmetrical with a third port if they fulfill this particular condition. So what this particular condition? The condition of symmetry is that if the port 1 is matched with port R and similarly port 2 matched with port R. Okay, so similarly SIR, if this is a particular equation, so how we can write in terms of numbers? So S13 is equal to S23. If this is the case, then port number 1 and port number 2, they are said to be symmetrical electrically with respect to port number 3, that is port number R. Okay, and if this is not the case, on the other hand, if I get S13 is equal to minus of S23, then port number 1 and port number 2, they are said to be anti-symmetrical with port number 3. Okay, so this is an important property of symmetry, and in order to explain the property of a symmetry, we need to consider three significant different ports, out of which the two ports may be symmetric with a given third port, or they may not be symmetric with the third port. Okay, so in order to check the property whether the given two ports are symmetrical with the third port, you need to check this particular property. Okay, if this property fulfills the condition, then we say that the two ports are symmetric with the third port. On the other hand, if we get the negative but the same equation, then we say that the two ports I and J are anti-symmetrical with the third port, right? So this is the important property of a symmetry of a scattering parameter. Next, finally, we will come across a very important and last property of a scattering parameters, that is identity property. Okay, and we have two sub properties under this identity property of a scattering matrix. Okay, so identity property of a scattering matrix we are going to make use when we study the designing of scattering matrix for some of the passive waveguide based junction devices. Okay, so please pay attention over here, because this is the last and important property of a scattering matrix, okay, which we call it as an identity property. Okay, so identity property again later is explained you into two different ways. So condition number 1 and condition number 2, so that we will explain you in brief just right now. Condition number 1 and condition number 2. Okay, so identity matrix or the unitary matrix, it will follow the two conditions. So first of all, let us see what do we mean by identity property of a scattering matrix. Okay, now here whatever I highlighted over here, this particular equation, what that indicates, a scattering matrix taken as a transpose multiplied with its complex conjugate. So star indicates complex conjugate operation, please remember. So when you take the product of transpose of a scattering matrix, let us say S is the original matrix, right? So if you take the transpose of this matrix, okay, so what do you mean by taking the transpose of a matrix? You need to just interchange the rows with a column and column with a rows, vice versa. Okay, so take the transpose of this matrix. That means you convert rows into columns and columns into rows. How it is denoted then? It is denoted as a S of T, where T is indicating that we have taken the transpose of a scattering matrix. Okay, now next is take the complex conjugate of the scattering matrix. We know that in RF communication, we not only just deal with the real numbers, we deal with the complex numbers. So if S is the original scattering matrix, we will take the complex conjugate. So complex conjugate means we need to take the reverse polarity for the imaginary part. So complex conjugate. So how we take the conjugate, how it is denoted? So conjugate means we will denote the conjugate of scattering matrix as a S raised to star. Okay, so what is for example, here I will illustrate how to write the conjugate. So let us say the matrix element is 2 plus 2j. Let us say the matrix contains one of the element as a 2 plus 2j. It is a complex number, right? So what is the conjugate of this number? This number is a complex number, right? So how to take the conjugate of this number? So the conjugate of this number is, you need to simply reverse the polarity of imaginary part, keeping the real part same. So 2 minus j2 is a complex conjugate of the original number. So if we have a scattering matrix, you need to simply change the polarity of the imaginary parts of each and every term of that S matrix, and you will get a complex conjugate, right? So if I multiply the transpose of the original scattering matrix with its complex conjugate, that is what I performed over here. Okay, and if it evaluates to the identity matrix, okay, if it evaluates to the identity matrix, then we say that the scattering matrix is a unitary matrix. Please remember. So what do we mean by unitary matrix? A unitary matrix is a scattering matrix which fulfills this particular condition. Okay, so what is that condition? The condition is, if we take the product of transpose of the scattering matrix with its complex conjugate, and if it is found to be an identity matrix. You already know the meaning of identity matrix in mathematics. Okay, so if it comes out, the result of multiplication, if it comes out to be an identity matrix, then the scattering matrix, we call it as a following, it is a unitary matrix, or it is following the condition of unitary. Okay, so here the example I have given. Let us say the scattering matrix for the two-port network, it is represented by this equation. If we take the transpose of this matrix, we need to only change the rows with the column. So the rows will become column over here, S11 and S12. Similarly, this row will become the column over here, S21 and S22. Now take the complex conjugate of the scattering matrix, S11 complex and S12, S21 and S22. Now you multiply these two matrices. Now this is a transpose first of all, and this is a complex conjugate. If you multiply these two matrices together, and if you get this result, what is this result? This is, we call it as a identity matrix. In mathematics, you might be knowing this is identity matrix, right, of order 2 by 2. Okay, where all the diagonal elements are unit and rest of the elements are 0. Okay, so if the multiplication results into identity matrix, then we call this original scattering matrix as a unitary matrix. So this is called as a unitary only when it fulfills this particular condition, right? So if the given matrix is a unitary, if it is found to be unitary, it will fulfill two conditions. Now let us see in brief what are these conditions. Please remember, these conditions are only applicable when we find that the given matrix is a unitary. And just right now I explain you how to check the unitary property of the scattering matrix. So if it gets evaluated to I, identity matrix, we say that scattering matrix is a unitary. Now if the scattering matrix is a unitary, it possesses two conditions or two further important properties. So first property is a zero property of a unitary matrix or a scattering matrix. So let us say zero property of a scattering matrix over here. Okay, so what is the zero property? Here I will explain. Now let us write the equation of a zero property. I will explain you by writing the matrix. So zero property, it is only applicable to the scattering matrix when it follows the unitary property. Okay, we already saw the unitary property. What do you mean by that and how to check it? Okay, so if the sum of product of, see what is this symbol? This symbol is a summation symbol. Okay, sum of product. So this is a product, right? So please remember, this is a product. Do you agree that this is a product where P and Q are the different rows and J stands for column? Okay, so please remember the first suffix stands for row. It stands for row number. Okay, and the second suffix, it stands for column. Okay, so SPJ multiplied by SQJ complex conjugate, if this comes out to be 0 for P is not equal to Q, that means for different rows. Okay, so P and Q stands for rows and J stand for column. Okay, so what is the meaning of this particular equation? If we take the sum of product of each term of a particular row, okay, with corresponding complex conjugate of other row, and if this product is found to be 0, then this unitary matrix is said to possess zero property. Okay, so let us explain what is this zero property again by taking the example. So let us say we have a scattering matrix. Okay, S11, S12 over here. So here I denote the scattering matrix. We know how many rows are there in the scattering matrix. There are two rows. In row 1 we have S11 and S12. In row number 2 we have S21 and S22. Okay, so if we apply this particular rule and if we want to write in terms of this equation, how we can write the scattering matrix? Okay, so first of all, S11, so that is this element, multiplied by complex conjugate of the same element from the other row. How many rows are there? There are two rows. So first row, first element. Okay, so this is the first row, first element, S11, multiplied by second row, first element and its complex conjugate. So second row is this and first element is S21. Take its complex conjugate. So I will get S21 complex conjugate multiplied by first row, first element. Okay, so in that way you need to take the addition of and summation of all the terms. Okay, so similarly plus, we are taking the summation, so that's why the plus symbol. Second element of the first row, that is S12, right? S12 over here, multiplied by second element of second row with its complex conjugate. Second element of second row with its complex conjugate. Okay, and take the summation and calculate it, and if it is equal to 0, then we say that this unitary matrix is following the property of zero property. Okay, so the same is applicable when we apply the rule to the column. Okay, so when we apply the same zero property to the column, now here what I am doing is I will be keeping the row as the same, but I am changing the column. Okay, so where please remember P and Q are representing two different columns of the same scattering matrix, two different columns. Okay, so in earlier example over here I shown you how to apply the zero property for the rows. Okay, so this explanation for rows. Okay, now similarly we can write the sum of product of each term of a particular column with corresponding term of some other column. If it is going to be 0, then we say that the matrix is following zero property and that matrix is a unitary. So here again, if we go column wise, this is a scattering matrix, original scattering matrix, and there are two columns. So first column is this one, that is S11 and S21. This is the first column. Okay, and similarly S12 and S22, this is the second column. Now apply the property of zero property to these columns. So what I will do is, first column first element multiplied by first column multiplied by second column first element complex conjugate, second column first element complex conjugate. Okay, and go on taking the summation. Then similarly plus take the summation second element of first column, right, multiplied by second element of second column with its complex conjugate, second element of second column with its complex conjugate. Okay, take the product, evaluate, take the addition, and if this addition comes out to be again 0, then this is again applicable for the column. So if the unitary matrix fulfills this particular condition, we say that the unitary matrix is following the zero property. Okay, so please remember, just don't get confused why these properties are getting studied over here. The use of these properties, which will be very much clear to you when we are going to derive the equation for scattering matrix for multiport network in our chapter number 2. Okay, now let us similarly briefly look at the second condition or the second sub property of unitary matrix. Okay, the second property of the unitary matrix, we call it as a unit property. So unit property of unitary matrix. Okay, so unitary matrix is a scattering matrix, please remember, which fulfills the condition of unitary condition, right? So first of all, I will write the equation of unit property, and the same property you can similarly apply to rows as well as to the columns. Okay, so first of all, this is that particular equation which gives the equation of unit property for the unitary matrix. Please remember, unitary matrix is representing scattering matrix. So what is that equation? The summation of product of scattering parameter with its own complex conjugate. See what I am saying, the summation of product of scattering parameter with its own complex conjugate. See, Sij complex conjugate, and here it is also Sij. That means the same parameter is there, only the product that we are taking with is we need to change to the complex conjugate. It can be written as summation from the same Sij whole square, and it comes out to be equal to 1. If it fulfills the unitary matrix, if it fulfills this condition, we say that the unitary matrix is going to follow unit property. Okay, so let us see how this condition look like when we actually apply to the scattering matrix. So let's say here again, a scattering matrix for a two-port network is given by S11, S12 and S21 and S22. So there are two rows. Okay, so let us apply this property row wise. Okay, so row wise, how we can apply this property? Yes, S12 and S21. Okay, so Sij and Sij complex conjugate. Okay, so let us apply it to the individual group wise. Okay, so S12, how it can be written? So let us say here I will write it again. So how to apply for the same element? Okay, so same element for the same row. If I want to apply this unit property to row number 1, so how I can write? So I will write over here. So first element of first row, right? First element of first row is S11 multiplied by its own complex conjugate. Take the complex conjugate and multiply. S11 complex conjugate, right? Take the summation, right? Okay, so take the summation. Then what is the second element? S12, right? So S12, I am going row wise, so I am going with a row 1. So S12 is the second element of the row, okay, multiplied by its complex conjugate, S12 complex conjugate. If it comes out to be 1, okay, then we call that this is going to fulfill the unitary condition, right? Now similarly, if we apply the unit property to row number 2, I can write on the similar way, S21 multiplied by its complex conjugate, S21 complex conjugate, plus what is the second element of second row, that is a S1 S22. So S22 multiplied by complex conjugate of S22 star is equal to 1. If this fulfills these two conditions, then we say that this scattering matrix is going to follow the unit property. And the same thing you can apply column wise also. Instead of row wise, I am going with a column wise. There are two columns. This column will contain two elements, then this column will also contain two elements. So how to apply with a column? If we apply the unitary condition, unit property to this column, I can write S11 multiplied by S11 complex conjugate, right? And what is the second element of first column? Second element of first column is S21. S21 multiplied by S21 complex conjugate, if it is equal to 1. And similarly apply to column number 2. When we apply to column number 2, I will take first element S12 multiplied by S12 its own complex conjugate, and go on taking the summation of all the terms in column number 1. So the second term in column number 1 is S22 multiplied by S22 complex conjugate, and if it is equal to 1. Okay, so if it fulfills these two conditions column wise, then also this particular scattering matrix is said to follow unit property. Okay, provided that initially this scattering matrix has to be a unitary beforehand. Okay, so these are the important properties of a scattering matrix. So in this lecture we started explaining you the necessity of using different type of circuit parameter in order to analyze the microwave circuit, and we discussed that why the low circuit or low frequency parameters like impedance, admittance and hybrid parameters are not suitable. Okay, we discussed that issue, why we cannot make use of these low frequency parameters to analyze microwave circuit. And then we introduced what do we mean by the scattering parameter, and then in generalized we formulated what is the scattering matrix and how it is represented in the form of an equation. Okay, then we have derived the equation for a two-port network represented in terms of a scattering matrix. Okay, and the same theory we have applied to a generalized network which has multiple ports. Okay, then we came across the nomenclature and port suffix consideration. Okay, and what is the representation of the suffix which are denoted at the suffix of scattering parameter. Okay, then again we started with a two-port network and we discussed in detail the different properties that the scattering parameters are going to possess for the given two-port network. So we discussed what do we mean by matching condition in terms of scattering parameters. Then we saw how and why the ports are said to be isolated from each other and how to check it. Okay, then we saw what is the property of reciprocity which is represented in terms of a scattering matrix, and then finally we saw the symmetry property, and then in the last a very important property of the scattering matrix we studied, that is a unitary property or identity property. Okay, and we have also studied the two sub conditions of the unitary matrix, that is the zero property and unit property. So please remember here the last property, that is the unitary property, we are going to make use of it when we come across solving the scattering matrix. Say there are certain devices in chapter number 2, those are passive devices, and there we are supposed to derive the scattering matrix for multiple ports. At that time extensively we are going to make use of this last property of a scattering matrix, that is zero property and unitary property of the scattering matrix are very much useful in order to derive the scattering matrix for complex devices. So here I hope this is the in all general explanation of the scattering parameter, and each and every part of the scattering parameter we have covered in this particular lecture. Okay, so in our next lecture, so we will start with transmission line theory again, and again we will be starting with discussion of transmission line theory in order to understand the design of matching circuit. So with this lecture I consider that we have covered all the important aspect of the scattering parameters, their formulation and their usage. So next time we will start with transmission line theory taking into the account impedance matching circuit. So here I will stop and thank you very much.